What's up, guys? Hi, Banks guys here. I got Alex, Nick, and we got a special guest with us on this video, Alan Barney, who actually interviewed us at one point for a project he was working on in college. So good to have you on, Alan. Nick, obviously good to see you as well, all here. And the gang's going to be talking about, obviously, the big news that came out today. Tyler Reddick, not next year, but the year after, 2024, going to 2311 Racing. So we're going to discuss that and get all our thoughts on that subject. So first off, guys, how's it going? You guys hanging in there in the middle dog days of summer?
You can go ahead, Nick.
No. You're starting off.
No, I appreciate you guys for having me on. It was good to talk to you guys and really link up with other NASCAR fans who are very knowledgeable about the sport. And for me, it is the dog days of summer. I'm in my last semester of my bachelor's degree, so got about 3 weeks left, and I'll be done for school, hopefully forever. I don't know. I might go back in the future, but at the moment, I don't want to.
Well, definitely congrats to that,
yeah.
man. And
Thank you.
Tennessee here in the middle of summer is never good. We're finally hopefully getting a little break weather-wise, but the last couple of weeks have just been brutal.
You should try out Florida a little bit. No.
It literally feels like Florida, man. The humidity and the heat and everything. It literally just feels like Florida now.
Well, I'm up here in the Mid-Atlantic, Delaware, so our weather's not extreme, but it actually is kind of like thunderstorm and raining right now. So, but it's hot. I'll tell you, it is hot. But yeah, so glad everybody's doing well. Got lots going on. So I guess let's just dive into it. Like I said, big news: Tyler Reddick going to be joining 2311 Racing on a multi-year deal starting in 2024, which is kind of interesting as far as timing goes. And I don't know if you guys saw the video on how it was announced, so to speak. But it was kind of like an odd thing. Just imagine if, we're Denny Hamlin talking to Toyota people and Tyler Reddick hops in the Zoom call and they just, they thought he was in the wrong spot. And then Denny kind of just formally announced it after that. So what do you guys think here? A little too early for this, or it was gonna, Tyler Reddick said it was gonna come out before they go into the playoff time because he wants to keep his commitment with RCR rest of this year into next year, even though it probably will be a little awkward. But what are we thinking here?
Alan, kick it off.
Well, it kind of reminds me of other sports, free agency. It happens. I obviously it doesn't happen during the season like it did with this situation, but it was shocking to hear. I mean, Reddick just got his first win a couple weeks ago, so he's definitely still riding high off of that. And I can't, like Alex said, the changing of the manufacturer, that's a big thing. And like it was shocking to me. It's really weird how he, is starting to build up a career and it looked like maybe long term with Richard Childress Racing, and now that's over and done with. And it's going to be, like Alex said, also really awkward because what happens now with crews and equipment? Like, does Richard start to focus all of his attention on Austin Dillon? Like, how does that work out? And then you also got to factor in next year as well. That to me is the oddest part, that he's still going to do a whole nother season with them. And I would love to be a fly in the room for some of those conversations. The part that was that really made me think what is going on is the tweet that Richard Childress Racing sent out from their official account saying, they understood, but they were shocked at the timing of it. So I don't understand were they completely in the dark about this? Like, feel like something happened along the line with communication where somebody didn't know. It was just really weird. But I don't know what to say. I mean, like I said, all I can say is shocked, and it's going to be interesting to see how him and RCR handle it the rest of this year and next year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be weird going into it, not only the end of this year, going into next year, especially when you already have another job lined up, your whole crew, your whole personnel is just wondering what's going to happen next. Am I going to move with you, without you? That's really big in the sport with the unknown of all that involving your other personnel with this. The second thing is how, I don't want to say this, is yeah, like you said, Alan, about with Austin Dillon, like everything feels like it's going to be more directed towards them, and the timing of it just didn't seem right because it seemed like what Ty Dillon, not Ty Dillon, what Tyler wanted to do was not think about it during the playoffs, since he kind of seems like he has a good shot at it. He's got to win now. He's getting the playoffs. It seems like that's another subject for debate, but it's just very odd timing. Usually you wait till you're out of the playoffs or kind of like in the midst of the offseason to bring up something like this, and even a multi-year deal, because that was shocking too, that it wasn't just 1 year, it was multi-year.
Well, go ahead, man.
No, you're good. I'll save it for later.
I was gonna kind of branch off of what Nick was saying. With a multi-year deal thing, I think Denny kind of just dove in there. So everybody, even Tyler Reddick, said that RCR knew it was a possibility he was going to leave after next year, even though they just picked up his option for next year. So I think the multi-year deal is Denny Hamlin knowing the racing side of this, of everything, and locking him down because he was going to be one of the, better free agents, so to speak, come that year.
Right.
So obviously I think it was just more of a thing to lock him down for multiple years. Now, I don't know, the timing was kind of odd, but usually it seems like it's not like other sports where we see players or teams, wait till the end of the year. In NASCAR, it seems like it's happening. You have guys making announcements they're retiring mid-year. You have guys say they're coming back. There's there's always something happening, as far as that goes. But I don't know. I guess obviously it shocked RCR, like you said, Alan, in their tweet and everything. And as far as my opinion on, are they going to put more into Austin's car than Tyler's? I don't know, because Tyler's had an overall better season than Austin, even before the win. And then plus being in the playoffs, they're going to have to put more resources into Tyler's car than Austin's, because chances are Austin's not going to make the playoffs unless he wins the next month or two. So I don't know. And then obviously the discussion comes up who's going to take over after Tyler Reddick.
There's some names that are definitely going to float around. You mentioned Austin Hill coming up. That was the big one that we were discussing earlier. He was possibly a candidate that might be able to take over.
Who? He's already there, Nick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking somebody. I don't know why I'm thinking somebody. Moving like
Austin Hill. That's who I had said.
That's what I said. Yeah, Austin Hill.
I thought you said Austin Dillon.
No, I said Austin Hill. That's what confused me. I was like, did I really say Dillon out of nowhere?
There's two Austin Dillons.
There is two Austin Dillons now. We're gonna call him Dillon from now on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk on who would take over that car. Obviously there's still the talk of Kyle Busch's future with Joe Gibbs, which seems like he'll probably be back, I'd assume. But is that a possibility? Who knows?
Very, very well could be. Also, you got to throw in the wild cards too, obviously, with possible guys in Xfinity possibly moving up, because you got to wait till not this year. We're looking at the following year.
Right.
And we got some players that possibly might be in that ride expectation-wise.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then, what does the future hold for Bubba Wallace, Kurt Busch?
I can't see
know,
Bubba
so-
leaving.
I was just gonna say that, but I feel like Bubba's gonna be the odd man out unless they're getting that next year to prepare for maybe going to have a third team with 2311. But I mean, they got their own things to work out with 2 teams right now, so I don't know if 3 would be the best way to go. So I feel like the Heat is. I feel like the Heat's more on Bubba than Kurt, but
I agree with you there, and I think what Bob Hocker said was Bubba isn't under contract after this year, so. But the guy from 2311 said they're having Bubba in the 23, Kurt in the 45 next year still, so that's pretty much done. But I guess best case for Bubba would be Kurt retires at the end of next year, and then Tyler Reddick takes over that car, and all is settled.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is he's going to retire after this year?
That's what it kind of points to. If they're looking ahead a year and a half from now, it almost points like because the Kurt Busch retirement rumor has been going around for years now.
It was supposed to happen this year, apparently. He did that whole video of it, and he thought that he was going to let go and finally hang it up, and here he is still. So, and it sounds like he's coming back next year. So, who knows? Because we saw D'Amarola thing. We thought that he was going to retire, and now he's had second thoughts about it, and the whole Martin Truex thing. That thing fizzled out real quick because we all knew he was going to come back.
Yeah. One interesting one I just thought about while you were rattling off names was, and this is probably unlikely, but Kurt retiring this year and maybe Kyle taking over the ride, Kyle Busch, because he's already teammates with Denny. Maybe they've been working on something behind closed doors like we saw with Reddick, and that still puts Bubba on the side, and then you have Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick. It's a lot. It's a lot of possibilities.
That would be a good duo, though. I'm not gonna lie. That would be a hell of a duo.
What part do you not like about it?
You don't like Kyle Busch. So
I'm looking at Kyle Busch as a racing standpoint here. I see
he's
Bubba
the best one out there, Nick. He's the best one out there, and you know it.
No, I don't. I think Chase is probably the best one out there right now.
This is the Jordan LeBron talk. This
really is.
How many rings does Chase have?
I think guys think you meant to say Ross Chastain.
Ross is that Trackhouse team is on fire right now. They are lighting it up. He's coming second.
One name I just thought of for the 8 car that might be pretty interesting maybe is Noah Gragson. I saw that mentioned on Twitter.
That's who I thought of.
That one too.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he cleans his act up, if he does that, if he keeps himself in check.
Well,
could he be in line for that second calling car too, full time? So, who knows on that too?
I also saw Daniel Hemrick was another name, but he's already had his chance with that team in the Cup Series, so I don't know for sure.
He had a chance, and he was terrible. But I mean, I don't think they really gave him a chance, so to speak. Now, albeit they moved him up without winning an Xfinity or anything, but then he goes out with Gibbs and wins a championship and all that. So I don't know.
Here's another scenario.
I can see Hemrick coming back.
This is a weird one. I'm just going to throw it out there because we saw it already kind of this year with Brad moving over to his own team. After the year that Reddick's, the car is up. Denny comes over. Ty Gibbs replaces Denny, and they do a swap because he'll be at that time. I think he'll have enough experience to where he's already killing it down there in Xfinity. He's going to have enough experience to move up, and Denny's going to move over to his own team.
I can see that.
It's kind of out there, and we're already talking about with possible. Denny, he's a lifer for Joe Gibbs, but it'll be his decision to move over to his own team. He can probably stay at Joe Gibbs forever,
right.
But if he really wants to, I could see that potentially moving over, just how Roush did it with Brad and moved over into that.
I think and this is probably a shot in the dark too, a really good power trio is, as you said, Denny going into his own team with the third team, and then adding on to my theory of Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick. That would be quite a trio, but I know
Then Bubba
that's
gets
kind of
kicked
far
out.
off.
That's actually a good. It's like what you see like with teams that you want to top like a power three, or you want like
Right.
in basketball and stuff.
Super
like now you're
team,
like a
yeah.
super team. You're looking into racing now. You want that super team. I could see something like that eventually happening with this new 2311 team coming out.
Now, I think too, like with Kyle Busch, it's kind of tough because there's been like speculation that he'd retire before racing for any other team. So I don't know, if they didn't work out a deal with him at Gibbs. I don't know. Ty Gibbs, he needs to stay in Xfinity another year, mature up, because obviously we saw the immaturity. Same with Noah, I think. He's just as bad as far as the immaturity factor and all that. But I don't know. I think Tyler Reddick, I think that's going to be a hell of a team if it's Bubba and Tyler Reddick. Now, I think Bubba, obviously, we've discussed this multiple times. Pit crew's been terrible, and we saw the pit crew members that got changed to Christopher Bell's car didn't get a wheel on. So
we're still waiting to hear on that suspension too.
No suspension.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, it's no suspension now.
No suspension because they adjusted the rule where if it's kind of controlled, it's not a penalty. So if you go out on the track, it's that's obviously. But if his tire, he pulled 2 feet out of the pit box and it fell off. So
that's what I was hoping to see was no penalty,
and
especially with that.
I was gonna mention I've thought of this before too, and within the Toyota camp with Gibbs and 2311, is Christopher Bell really safe beyond this year? So
see, I think personally, I think he's been the most consistent out of all 4 of them all year. And he's the only one. Well, Truex hasn't won yet, but he's had the speed all year. And I think Denny even said on Dale Jr. Download when he was on a couple weeks ago that Gibbs is known for getting rid of these guys too soon. There's been, guys that they've just gotten, rid of right off the bat. And he said that he hopes they don't do that with Christopher Bell. So I hope he's not the odd man out because I like him and I like Kyle Busch. The other 2, I don't care. But, yeah. So we'll see. I guess as far as the Tyler Reddick deal goes, we'll have to see how he performs, obviously, the rest of this year. Like he said, he wants to finish what he started with the team, which I think is the right move. They just picked up his option 2 weeks ago, and then he leaves. So that's kind of like a D move, so to speak. But I guess it's a business too. So, as are all sports and everything. But I think it'll be hopefully Bubba can turn it around because I like him in the 23. He's had speed this year. And when Tyler Reddick gets there, he might push him even more because he's a young guy. And hopefully
they could do that with Kurt there, and Kurt.
That's like Kurt's like the veteran presence, right? Like,
right.
You better get your stuff together, or this is what might happen. Then you bring in a guy like Reddick, who's a young guy, and he has a win this year. It might light a fire under Bubba, like, I better get it together.
And I believe they're good friends, aren't they? Too, Tyler and Bubba.
I can imagine, yeah.
I know that they have a little group. I think it's Blaney and Bubba and Chase Elliott before he got mainstream, and Bub and Reddick. Sorry, but
yeah. So yeah.
And I feel like an interesting thing to think about maybe what happens with Bubba if he does get pushed out of the ride, if he lands on his feet in another Cup ride or not.
I gotta say no on that. There's too many good Xfinity guys that are gonna move on. I think he's gonna pull a Matty D or something, and unfortunately get demoted down to
that.
something like Xfinity or maybe even in the trucks. He was good. He was in. He hasn't done trucks in a while now, but
He's better than Matty D.
well, yeah, he's better than Matty D. But I feel like there's a lot better Xfinity that they're going to look at them go and say, I want him. I want to move him up. I'm going to move, Brandon Brown, for example, or Noah Gragson or Ty. Well, Ty Gibbs is going to Joe Gibbs anyway, so we're going to just throw that out. He's not going anywhere unless it's with him.
There's nobody else in Toyota right now. That's.
I'm just talking. I meant
high
in
up the list.
general.
Were you gonna put John Hunter in there?
If they give him an offer, if they offer it to him, I mean, it's not uncommon. I can see it happening. If there's a ride that's available and
You went to the
money's right,
trucks
and they
because he
want to
couldn't
move
win in anything else, Nick.
John Hunter,
Yeah, John Hunter went to the best truck team out there so he could win, and he still sucks this year anyway. So
gets into
I don't
his
like him
accidents
either.
and has fun.
Maybe Zane Smith will consider a manufacturer change.
That's a possibility too. Zane's got the ability to move over.
I was
and
thinking
possibly
him
do that.
more of like he could replace Todd Gilliland at front row since he drives the truck for them, or he did pretty well in the RFK car when Busher was out at Gateway. So I think he'd be a pretty good fit somewhere.
Yeah,
Zane Smith.
Another name I saw on Twitter coming with the 8 car was Sheldon Creed. That was another good name I saw. Truck champion. He's got somewhat of a pedigree, although he hasn't been as successful in the Xfinity. He's a good option. I mean, there's so many options. Brandon Jones, I know a lot of people kind of harp on him and his lack of winning races in Xfinity, but he's a good option for Toyota.
mm-hmm.
Ty Gibbs, I mean, he's a great driver, but he's rough around the edges. Like, people talk about Ross Chastain, but Ty Gibbs is the Ross Chastain of the Xfinity series right now.
Imagine having 2 of them in one race.
Oh God,
hell. That'd just be hell for everybody. Everybody be watching their rear view.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that be something if like Denny, like Joe Gibbs went to Denny and was like, "You're gonna hire my grandson"? Like, imagine that. Like, no, I'm not. Hey, Joe. No, I'm not. All right, I'm not. Why don't you have a talk with him and Jesus, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, there's gonna, I don't know, Joe Gibbs Racing's coming to like this breaking point where I feel like there's gonna be a major change. Obviously, Truex is safe, and Bell, I would assume, is safe, but something's gonna happen with Kyle Busch. I'm on the side of I think he'll move, but I don't know. And like we said, Denny Hamlin with his own team, something's got to happen to fit Ty Gibbs in. And I know they've said they're waiting till 24 to bring him up to Cup Series, but if he wins the championship in Xfinity this year, maybe they consider moving him up next year.
I think if they don't, maybe the only way I can see him moving up is if they don't get something done with Kyle Busch that, it's an open ride, so it's his. Yeah. That's really the only way I can see him moving up next year. He might run some Cup races next year, I guess, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so love the silly season in NASCAR. It kind of happens all year, really. So Tyler Reddick, 2024, he'll be at 2311 Racing. We'll have to see if it's a 3-car team or Kurt retires, he takes that, or Kurt stays, he takes over Bubba's spot. We'll have to see what happens there. So obviously the topic of the day today, and I thought it was fake news when it came across my phone and I saw the tweet and everything. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to look this up now. So that was pretty wild. But any last words, fellas, before we sign off here?
I can't wait to see some more changes happen. I don't think any as shocking as today will happen, but I really am interested to see how the rest of this. I'm sorry. On a different note, I'm really interested to see what happens with Ross Chastain and if guys are waiting to take their time and get them back in the playoffs, or will they take their shot now before the playoffs start? That's something unrelated to the Reddick news that I'm watching for.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to watch there. They'll find a way to make him not win a championship. So he kind of goes out my head when it comes to championship talk, because I know Denny will make sure he doesn't win it. So we'll see. But anyway, Nick, anything else to add?
I'm waiting to see Eric Amarola and Ross Chastain deal with it in the food line. That was funny. If you guys got a chance to listen to that one on Radioactive, that was funny.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Ross has a ton of enemies now. So, but yeah. So big news of the day, obviously, before we get out of here. Tyler Reddick, 2311 racing in 2024. So we're still a ways off. But like the video, subscribe to the channel. Alan, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
we'll have to do this again.
Yes, sir.
Sometime. So all right, fellas. That's it. So we'll see you guys next time. Hi, Banks guys, signing out.